Maya sat nervously in the waiting room, her hands resting on her growing belly. She was pregnant and filled with a mixture of excitement and anxiety about her first doctor's appointment. The bright lights and the scent of antiseptic made her feel uneasy, but she was determined to focus on the joy of bringing a new life into the world. Next to her, her husband David offered a comforting smile. He squeezed her hand gently, reminding her that everything would be all right, as they waited. Maya glanced around the room. It was filled with people of all ages and backgrounds, each one with their own worries and hopes. She saw a young couple talking softly, an elderly man reading a newspaper, and a mother trying to calm her restless child. Maya felt a sense of community among them, all waiting for their own moments of care and concern. When her name was finally called, Maya's heart raced. She stood up, taking a deep breath, and walked with David to the examination room. The nurse checked her vitals and asked a few questions about her health. Maya tried to answer confidently, but she could feel the nervousness creeping back. After a few moments, the nurse left, and they waited for Dr. Thompson. Dr. Thompson entered the room a few minutes later. He was a tall man with a white coat that seemed slightly wrinkled, as if he had rushed in from another patient. He barely looked at Maya as he introduced himself, steady focused on his clipboard, flipping through the pages as if he were searching for something important. Maya felt a twinge of unease, but hoped it was just the doctor's busy schedule. "Let's see what we have here," Dr. Thompson said, still looking at the clipboard. "You're how many weeks along?" He glanced up for a moment, his eyes assessing her. 6 months. Good. Nia nodded, trying to keep her composure. "Yes, that's right." "Everything has been going well," she replied, her voice steady. But Dr. Thompson's demeanor quickly shifted. He began asking questions that made Maya feel uncomfortable. "Do you smoke or drink? What kind of food do you eat?" His tone was condescending, as if he doubted her ability to take care of herself and her baby. Maya felt her cheeks flush with embarrassment as he continued with remarks that seemed to question her worth as a mother simply because of her race. "Some people don't understand how important that is," he said, his words dripping with judgment. Maya's heart sank, and she looked at David for support. His expression darkened, clearly angered by the doctor's tone. Maya wanted to speak up, to tell Dr. Thompson that she was doing her best, but the words stuck in her throat. Instead, she felt small and vulnerable under the weight of his prejudice. David shifted in his seat, his jaw clenched as he listened to the doctor's unnecessary comments. He wanted to protect Maya, to shield her from the unkindness that was being directed at her. As the examination continued, Maya felt her confidence wane. Dr. Thompson's words echoed in her mind, making her question whether she was ready to be a mother at all. After what felt like an eternity, the appointment finally ended. Maya left the examination room, feeling humiliated and defeated, as they walked back to the car. The weight of the encounter hung heavily in the air. David wrapped his arm around her shoulder, trying to comfort her. "I'm so sorry, Maya," he said softly. "You deserve so much better than that." Maya took a deep breath, fighting back tears. "I just wanted to feel excited about this." "Baby!" she replied, her voice trembling. "Now, I feel like I've failed before I've even begun." As Maya and David drove home, the silence in the car was heavy. The earlier excitement of the appointment had vanished, replaced by a cloud of negativity that hung over them. Maya stared out of the window, watching the world pass by, but her mind was far away. Thoughts of Dr. Thompson's hurtful remarks replayed in her head like a broken record. Each word cut deeper than the last, and she felt a growing sense of despair. David glanced over at her, concern etched on his face. He could see that Maya was struggling with the experience, and it hurt him to know that someone had made her feel this way. He reached over and took her hand, giving it a gentle squeeze. "Maya, I want you to know that you're going to be an amazing mother," he said, his voice filled with warmth. Maya turned to him, forcing a small smile. "Thank you, David. I just can't believe how rude he was. I thought doctors were supposed to help people, not make them feel bad." Wavered as she spoke, revealing the vulnerability she felt inside. David shook his head. "What he said doesn't define you, or how good of a mother you will be. You've always taken care of yourself and others. You're strong and capable." His words were meant to lift her spirits, but Maya still felt the sting of humiliation. As they arrived home, the couple stepped inside their cozy apartment. It was a small but welcoming space, filled with memories of laughter and love. Maya took a deep breath, trying to shake off the negative energy from earlier. She moved to the kitchen to prepare a light snack, hoping that cooking would help calm her racing thoughts. David followed her. Watching as she busied herself with slicing vegetables for a salad, "How about we talk about something else?" suggested, wanting to distract her from the unpleasant experience. "Have you thought about names for the baby?" Maya paused, her knife hesitating mid-slice. The question brought a flicker of joy to her heart. "I have a few ideas," she said, her tone brightening. She began to share her favorite names, explaining why she liked each one and what they meant to her. David listened intently, smiling as she spoke. He could see the spark of excitement returning to her eyes, and it filled him with hope. But as they chatted, Maya couldn't shake the feeling of unease that lingered from the appointment. She thought about the world their child would be born into, a world that sometimes judged people based on their skin color. It frightened her, and she felt a wave of protectiveness wash over her. "What if our baby faces discrimination?" she asked softly, her voice tinged with anxiety. David moved closer, wrapping his arms around her. "We will be there to support and guide them. We'll teach our child to be proud of who they are and to stand up against unfairness," he reassured her, his voice steady. "And if anyone ever disrespects them, we will fight for them together." Maya felt a sense of comfort in David's words. She knew that together they could face any challenges that came their way. As they finished preparing dinner, the atmosphere in the kitchen shifted from one of sadness to one of hope. They laughed and joked, sharing stories and dreams for their future family. In that moment, Maya realized that she was not alone. With David by her side, she felt empowered to face whatever obstacles lay ahead. Together, they would create a loving home filled with acceptance and strength, shielding their child from the negativity that sometimes existed in the world. It was a promise they made to each other, and to their future a promise to always stand together against adversity. As the days passed, Maya tried to push the memory of Dr. Thompson's words to the back of her mind. However, the experience lingered like a shadow, creeping into her thoughts during quiet moments. Every time she felt her baby kick, joy would mix with anxiety, reminding her of the harsh reality that awaited them. She often caught herself staring at her reflection in the mirror, wondering if she would truly be the mother she wanted to be. One evening, while sitting on the couch with David, Maya felt the weight of her emotions crashing down. The television flickered softly in the background, but she was not paying attention. David was engrossed in a game, but he could sense that something was bothering her. He paused the game and turned to face her, his expression filled with concern. "Maya, what's wrong?" he asked gently, sensing her sadness. "You've been quiet all day." Maya took a deep breath, struggling to find the right words. "It's just, I keep thinking about what the doctor said. I can't shake off the feeling that I'm not good enough," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "What if I can't care for our child the way they deserve?" "Oh, Dada." David's heart ached at her words. He reached out and took her hands in his. "You are more than enough, Maya. The love and care you have in your heart is what matters the most. You are going to be an incredible mother. But what if people judge us? What if they look at our baby and see only our skin color?" Maya's eyes glistened with unshed tears, revealing the deep fear that had taken hold of her. "I want our child to grow up proud and happy, not facing the same prejudice I did." David squeezed her hands tightly, wanting to convey his support. "We will teach our child to be proud of who they are. We'll give them the tools to navigate this world, and we will be there every step of the way. They will know they are loved and valued." Maya nodded, but the worry still hung heavy in her heart. She couldn't help but think about the challenges they might face as a black family in a world filled with bias. She wanted to protect her child from pain and disappointment. But deep down, she knew that the world could sometimes be unfair. David stood up and walked to the window. Looking out at the setting sun, the sky was painted with hues of orange and pink, casting a warm glow over their neighborhood. He turned back to Maya, a determined look on his face. "You know what we can do? We can start talking to other parents, joining groups that focus on supporting families like ours. We can create a community. Maya's interest was piqued. You really think that could help? She asked, her hope flickering back to life. Absolutely, he replied with enthusiasm. We're not alone in this. There are many families who share similar experiences. Together we can learn from each other and create a safe space for our child. Maya smiled for the first time that evening, feeling a bit of weight lift off her shoulders. I like that idea. It would be nice to connect with others and share our experiences. David walked back to the couch, sitting beside her. And remember, Maya, it's okay to feel scared. We're both new at this, but the love we have for our child will guide us. Maya leaned into David, feeling a sense of relief wash over her. As they sat together, she realized that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them as a team. With love, support, and community, they could navigate the journey of parenthood together, no matter how difficult it might be. The following week was a whirlwind of emotions for Maya and David. They spent their evenings discussing baby names, nursery colors, and plans for the future. Each conversation brought them closer, but the shadow of that doctor's appointment still lingered in Maya's mind. She knew they needed to take action, not just for themselves, but for their child as well. One afternoon, while David was at work, Maya sat down with her laptop. She knew that if they wanted to create a strong support system, they needed to connect with others. She began searching for local parenting groups and organizations that focused on families of color. As she browsed the internet, she came across a community group that met every month to discuss parenting challenges and share resources. Excitement bubbled inside her as she read about their mission to empower parents and create safe spaces for their children. Later that evening, David returned home. Maya excitedly shared her discovery. David, I found a parenting group. We can join. They focus on supporting families like ours. Her eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. David smiled, sensing her excitement. That sounds amazing. What do they do? They have meetings where parents can share their experiences, talk about challenges, and learn from each other. I think it would be a great way for us to connect with others and find support, Maya explained, her voice filled with hope. David nodded thoughtfully. I agree. It's important for us to build a community, especially for our child. Let's go to the next meeting together. Maya felt a wave of relief wash over her. She had been worried about facing this journey alone, but now she could see a path forward. Together, they could create a loving environment for their child and find strength in the support of others. As the days passed, Maya prepared for the first meeting. She felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. Would the other parents be welcoming? Would they understand her fears? On the day of the meeting, she dressed carefully, choosing a comfortable dress that made her feel good. David reassured her as they drove to the community center. No matter what happens, we're in this together, he said, squeezing her hand. When they arrived, Maya felt her heart race. The community center was bustling with families, and as they entered the room, she saw parents chatting and children playing. The atmosphere was lively, filled with laughter and warmth. Maya took a deep breath, feeling a sense of hope. They were greeted by a friendly woman named Lisa, who introduced herself as the group leader. Welcome. We're so glad you could join us, she said with a bright smile. Maya felt a wave of relief wash over her as Lisa's warmth put her at ease. During the meeting, parents shared their stories, discussing the joys and challenges of raising children in a diverse world. Maya listened intently, soaking in their experiences and advice. She felt a kinship with the other parents, as they talked about the importance of teaching their children to be proud of their heritage. As the meeting progressed, Maya found the courage to share her own concerns. I'm worried about how my child will be treated because of their skin color, she admitted, her voice shaking slightly. I want to protect them from the world's judgment. The room fell silent for a moment, and then several parents nodded in understanding. You're not alone in feeling that way, one father said. We all want the best for our children, and it's okay to be scared, but we can support each other through it. Maya felt a sense of belonging that she hadn't expected. In that moment, surrounded by understanding and empathy. She realized that together, they could face the challenges ahead. They were not just individuals on a journey. They were part of a community that would uplift and empower each other. Of her worries began to lift as she embraced the hope that came from connecting with others who shared her experiences. The following days were filled with a renewed sense of purpose for Maya and David. They attended the parenting group meetings regularly, forming bonds with other families and sharing experiences that made them feel less alone. Each gathering reinforced their belief that they could create a loving, supportive environment for their child. However, Maya still felt a lingering need to address the hurtful experience with Dr. Thompson. One evening, as they sat together on the couch, Maya turned to David with a determined expression. "I think I need to talk to Dr. Thompson," she said firmly. "I want him to understand how his words affected me. I don't want anyone else to feel the way I did." David looked at her, surprised but supportive. "Are you sure? It might be uncomfortable." "But I admire your courage," he replied. "If you feel this strongly about it, then you should do it." Maya nodded, her heart racing at the thought of confronting the doctor. She wanted to stand up not only for herself, but for all the mothers who might face similar disrespect in the future. "I'll call the hospital tomorrow and set up an appointment," she said, feeling a mix of anxiety and determination the next day. Maya called the hospital to request a meeting with Dr. Thompson. The receptionist was polite and scheduled an appointment for the following week. As the day approached, Maya felt a knot in her stomach. Was she really ready to confront a man who had made her feel so small? But she reminded herself that this was about more than just her feelings. It was about making a stand against prejudice. When the day of the appointment arrived, David accompanied Maya to the hospital. As they walked through the familiar halls, Maya felt a wave of nervousness wash over her. She could feel the eyes of other patients and staff members on her, but she kept her head high. Determined to address the issue, they arrived at Dr. Thompson's office, and a nurse led them to the examination room. When Dr. Thompson entered, he greeted them with a polite smile, though there was a hint of surprise in his eyes. "Hello, Maya, David. What can I do for you today?" he asked, clearly unaware of the purpose of their visit. Maya took a deep breath, gathering her courage. "Dr. Thompson, I wanted to talk to you about our last appointment," she began, her voice steady. "I felt hurt by some of the things you said." Dr. Thompson's expression shifted slightly, and he nodded, signaling for her to continue. "I'm listening. Please, go ahead." "I felt that your comments were unfair and disrespectful. You implied that I wouldn't be a good mother simply because of my race. It hurt me deeply," Maya explained, her voice firm but calm. "I want you to understand how your words can affect your patients." David stood beside her, offering silent support. He admired Maya's bravery as she spoke her truth. Dr. Thompson looked taken aback, his expression shifting from surprise to concern. "I'm truly sorry to hear that, Maya. It was not my intention to hurt you," he said, his tone more sincere now. "I realize that I may have spoken without thinking, and I appreciate you bringing this to my attention." Maya felt a mixture of relief and frustration. It's important for doctors to be aware of how their words can impact patients, especially in sensitive situations like pregnancy. We need to feel supported and respected. Dr. Thompson nodded, taking her words to heart. "You're right. I will make a conscious effort to be more mindful and respectful. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to learn from my mistakes." Maya felt a weight lift from her shoulders. It was a small victory, but it felt significant. She had spoken up for herself and for others who might face similar challenges. "Thank you for listening," she said softly. "My experience can help create a better environment for all patients." As they left the office, Maya felt empowered. She had taken a stand, and while it hadn't changed the past, it could help shape a better future. David took her hand, pride shining in his eyes. "I'm so proud of you, Maya," he said. "You made a difference today." Maya smiled, knowing that together they would continue to fight against prejudice and build a loving world for their child. In the weeks that followed Maya's confrontation with Dr. Thompson, she began to notice a change in her feelings. The weight of hurt that had lingered in her heart started to lift. She felt empowered, knowing she had spoken up for herself and others. However, she remained curious about whether Dr. Thompson would truly change his behavior. One sunny afternoon, as Maya and David were preparing for a parenting group meeting, Maya received a call from the hospital. She answered, her heart racing. Slightly, it was Dr. Thompson. "Hello, Maya. I hope you're doing well," he said, his tone warm and genuine. "I wanted to personally thank you for our conversation. It really opened my eyes." Maya felt a mix of surprise and curiosity. "Thank you for calling, Dr. Thompson. I appreciate it," she replied, a smile forming on her face. "I've been reflecting on what you said, and I want to do better," he continued. "I've started to educate myself about these issues and how they affect patients. I'd like to invite you and David to a meeting at the hospital, where we will discuss ways to improve our services for families of color." Maya's heart soared at his words. It was one thing to apologize, but this was a step further, a commitment to change. "That sounds like a wonderful opportunity," she replied, enthusiasm bubbling in her voice. "We'd be happy to join." Later that week, Maya and David attended the meeting at the hospital. As they entered the room, they saw a diverse group of doctors, nurses, and community leaders gathered. The atmosphere was filled with anticipation and a desire for change. Akea felt a sense of hope as she took her seat beside David. Dr. Thompson started the meeting by sharing his gratitude for Maya's willingness to speak up. "We need to create a healthcare environment where every patient feels valued and respected," he said, looking around the room. "I've learned that it's crucial for us to listen to our patients and understand their experiences." Maya listened intently as other healthcare professionals shared their thoughts and ideas. They discussed how to implement training that focused on cultural sensitivity and awareness. Various suggestions were made, including community outreach, programs, and workshops to educate staff on the importance of diversity in healthcare. As the discussion continued, Maya felt empowered to share her own thoughts. "It's important to not only listen, but also to act," she said, her voice steady. "We need to ensure that patients feel safe and respected in every interaction. Small changes can lead to big impacts." The room buzzed with agreement, and several other parents in attendance nodded in appreciation. Maya felt a surge of energy as they shared their experiences, bonding over their common goals for a better future. After the meeting, Dr. Thompson approached Maya and David. "Thank you both for your valuable contributions today," he said sincerely. "Your courage has inspired me and my colleagues. We want to make a real change in our practice, and your input is crucial." I smiled, feeling a sense of accomplishment. "I appreciate your willingness to listen and learn. We can create a better environment for everyone," she replied. As they left the hospital, David wrapped his arm around Maya's shoulders, pride shining in his eyes. "You did fantastic, Maya. Look at the impact you're making," he said, his voice filled with admiration. Maya felt a warm glow of happiness. She knew that this was just the beginning. Their journey was not only about preparing for their child, but also about creating a world where every child could thrive, free from prejudice and fear. With David by her side and a community rallying together, Maya felt hopeful for the future. Together, they would fight for a better tomorrow, one step at a time. As Maya and David settled into their new routine, anticipation filled their home. The baby was due in just a few weeks, and both parents felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. They had attended several more meetings at the hospital, contributing to discussions on how to make healthcare more inclusive and supportive for families like theirs. Each meeting reinforced their belief that change was possible. One evening, while they were preparing the nursery, Maya felt a wave of joy wash over her. The room was painted a soothing shade of yellow, filled with a crib, soft toys, and colorful books. It was a space filled with love and dreams for their future child. David entered the room, carrying a small box. "What do you have there?" Maya asked, her curiosity piqued. David grinned and opened the box, revealing a beautiful quilt that his grandmother had made. "I wanted to add something special to the nursery," he said, carefully unfolding the quilt to show off vibrant patterns of animals and flowers. "It's a family tradition to pass down quilts to newborns." Maya's eyes sparkled with emotion. "It's perfect. It will keep our baby warm and remind them of our love," she said, her heart swelling with joy. They placed the quilt in the crib, imagining all the moments their child would have in that room. As the due date approached, Maya and David also continued to engage with their parenting group. They shared their experiences, learned from others, and found strength in their growing community. Knowing they were all working toward creating a better future for their children, finally, the day arrived. Maya went into labor early in the morning, and David rushed her to the hospital. As they drove, Maya felt a mixture of excitement and fear. The memories of her appointment with Dr. Thompson flashed through her mind, but she reminded herself of how far they had come. This was a new beginning. At the hospital, they were greeted by a team of nurses and doctors who had been trained in cultural sensitivity. Maya felt a wave of relief wash over her as they treated her with respect and kindness. The atmosphere was warm and supportive, the exact environment she had hoped for. After several hours of labor, Maya and David welcomed their baby into the world. As the doctor placed the newborn in Maya's arms, tears of joy filled her eyes. The tiny face, with its delicate features, instantly captured her heart. "Welcome to the world, little one," she whispered, feeling overwhelmed with love. David stood beside her, his eyes shining with pride. "You did it, Maya. You're an amazing mom already," he said, leaning in to kiss her forehead. Looked down at their baby, who was peacefully sleeping, unaware of the love and hope surrounding them in the days that followed. Maya and David embraced their new roles as parents. They took turns caring for their baby, sharing sleepless nights, filled with laughter and joy. They also continued to stay active in their community, advocating for better health care and support for families of color. Maya often reflected on how far they had come since that difficult appointment with Dr. Thompson. Their journey had not been easy, but it had led them to a place of hope and strength. With a loving partner by her side and a vibrant community supporting them, Maya felt confident that they could face any challenges ahead as they cradled their baby together. Maya and David knew they were building a brighter future, not just for their child, but for all children. Together, they would create a world where love, understanding, and acceptance prevailed over prejudice. Ensuring that their child would grow up proud of who they were, it was a promise they made to each other and their baby, a promise to always stand strong together, no matter what.